Thank you. I think first of all, it's a real privilege to be able to, support the team, because I'm the coalface. I'm all the things that everybody puts in place, because we have direct contact with the customer. And I think it's really important to note that I've seen big differences. I've worked for Swindon Borough Council for 28 years. So we've gone through, quite a few systems. I've seen lots of change. I've been in waste for that amount of time as well. So, it's a different world now. And I really am very excited about how it's going to be in the future, because all roads do lead to waste. And anyone who knows me and works for me knows that I'm very passionate about it. So it is a real privilege to be able to tell you about how we worked with our colleagues using Jadu Connect to make sure that we gave an excellent service to residents. Thank you. So I'm going to take you back to 2004. So we moved into the site at Cheney Manor in 2004, and it's an interesting layout. So the first thing is there's one road in and there's one road out. And for about 100,000 properties, there's one household waste recycling centre. So it's very, very limited. And when we moved in, the idea back then was we were going to have a no appointment required system. And you'll see the word chaos. I lived that chaos, okay? I've got grey hairs to show it, because we had lots of issues with our neighbours. We would park along there, so the residents would kind of park along there, and so these businesses couldn't get in because they could just turn up at any time. So what we tried to do is we tried to mitigate that by doing a webcam. So what would happen back in, 2012, is you'd sit at home and you would look and you'd wait. You'd wait for something to go free. Get in the car, right, and then everybody runs down there, and guess what? Everybody's down there now, so everyone's waiting for kind of like maybe 2 hours or sometimes. And residents got frustrated, and what happened was when people get frustrated, they take it out on the first employee they meet, and who do they meet? It's my team. Okay, so we had lots of verbal aggression, which wasn't good. People were stressed, people were hot, no good for the environment, because, those cars, some of them, they didn't want to turn off their ignition, so they're chugging out all of these exhaust fumes. And I remember listening something like every second that you leave your exhaust on, it's like 10 balloons get blown up. So it's a kind of really big impact there. Not many people were happy. We have frustrated residents, and frustrated residents like to go to the local press. Angry neighbours, when at one point we actually had a crane company who kind of worked in this area here, and they were threatening to get a crane and just put it across because they couldn't get their business in and out. Okay, and also safety concerns, because, we're a frontline operational business and we may have to get emergency services in there, and it was a real challenge. So this little person here that you see walking up and down, that person was actually had to be employed back then to make sure that we were doing everything and that we could allow any emergency service to come back in. Okay, thank you. So something changed, and Brooke kind of touched upon it. It was COVID. First of all, when the COVID restrictions came in, we remained open, but what happened was the rest of Swindon shut their businesses. And I don't know if you know much about Swindon, those who don't come from here. We used to have a big employer called Honda. We've also got Rover. We've got lots of industry in Swindon, and they shut their factories straight away. And we didn't close our household waste recycling centre because it was thought that we were one of the essential services. But the issue is when people say, go away from work, stay at home, stay safe, people hear that as go to the tip. Okay? So what happened was 1,000 people were all turning up, and it became a bit of a nightmare because they were all turning up at the same time. They were queuing, they were angry. We had to tell them to shut their windows, and it just didn't go on well at all. So in the end, the decision was made generally to shut the site. So we had to think about how to get it back open again. And someone a lot cleverer than me, probably these guys over here, thought about doing a booking system. So that's what we did, and that is what we have now. And it's completely revolutionised the front end of our business. Okay, so online booking via the council website. So I can go on my phone and I can tap in, book a slot at the tip, because everyone calls it the tip. It goes in and I can book a time and a day, and what happens is I get a QR code, and that QR code will, I will show it at the barrier, and that lets me in. And I get like 20 minutes to go through and make my visit, but I also get 10 minutes that I can arrive beforehand. If I arrive a bit too early, it won't let me in, so we have to turn people around. And that's a behavioural thing. We know behaviour is quite difficult to change. We have slots open all day. We can manage the throughput of traffic. No one's queuing, no one's chuffing out lots of diesel exhaust fumes. It means the residents can plan their day. So what they can do, instead of have a packed lunch and everything and sitting in a queue for ages, what they can do is they can go to the tip, they can drive there, they can put everything out, and then they can go back and carry on with the rest of their day. So a visit that could take 2.5 hours now took about maybe 25 minutes, and journey time in that as well. We actively managed capacity then, so it meant that everybody was going through at a nice rate. No one was getting angry. Everyone was really satisfied with it. We improved the signage, and also we managed to use this system to restrict the commercial waste properties. So there's a piece where we give people information before they book saying we don't allow commercial waste vehicles to come down and use us because, we want to put our residents first. So if you could press the next slide, please. I'm hoping this will work. Can you see this is very exciting? Got to wait for the barrier to close. Come on now. Oh, it didn't close. Now, when they originally said for me to come and present this, I wanted some music behind that. I wanted the theme tune from 2001 Space Odyssey to come blaring out to everybody. But I don't think I was allowed because no one ever mentioned it again. So there we go. Next slide, please. Okay, so what are the benefits? So, there's going to be benefits to residents, but there was also benefits to Swindon Borough Council employees. So reduced queuing, it meant that we could actually get to work, because sometimes if you start to work at Harper State and before we had the booking system, you might get caught in traffic. And in a time before the booking, we would find that our dust carts would sometimes get stuck in the same traffic as well, so it would take ages to tip, and sometimes we would miss waste. Because there were lots of lanes that we didn't need to use anymore, what we did was we used them for our staff parking. So staff parking improved, and we actually improved accessibility by 3 additional disabled parking bays. So that's a really positive story. Next slide, please. Okay, what residents are saying. So before the booking model, these are the low-key ones, okay? You sit in traffic for ages just to get in. It felt like a gamble every time. It was chaos on weekends. You never knew if you'd be stuck for 10 minutes or an hour. And that was very true. It was very, very true. So after the booking, hassle-free process, staff were kind and helpful. They better be. Booking system is a blessing, so no more taking your chances. I would like to say how pleased I was with the quick and efficient way it was dealt with. The appointment system is a godsend and possibly the best thing to happen there. So we've got some really good ratings there. Now, often waste is a very emotive subject, and often on social media, you always get some people who aren't very happy about change. And, so I remember when the booking system first came in, and everybody loved it, and then there'd be one person that didn't, and they would just get slaughtered on social media because everyone thought it made their life so much easier. And that's proof in the pudding. That's self-regulation. That's showing that it works. Next slide, please. So closing reflections. Built-in Jadu Connect, it really made a big difference to me and to my staff and to the residents. We could deliver a service, it was safe, it was calm. It's flexible, scalable, adaptable, and it keeps in pace with our demand. Waste is very demanding of the team. So, I'm probably not demanding myself, but the actual service is. The most in-demand digital service, 23,000 bookings per month. That's a lot. That's a lot of traffic. So we've moved our traffic from the road onto the website. And from crisis to lasting change, it was a situation that it would have got worse because Swindon is growing. If we hadn't gone to booking, what would we do then? Would we pile them down the side of the road? It would just be a complete nightmare. So it really, really is something that has made a big difference. And I'm excited about what is going to happen next. And the last bit, high demand shows why digital design must be at the forefront of service planning, helping colleagues run steady operations. Okay, this is distilled, so this is about you can make the residents' lives better, you can make the operational staff's lives better and more efficient, and give people a better experience from both sides of from both sides, if you're using the right systems. Next slide, please. I am lunch.